Hello, folks. So today's a little bit of a different video. I told you guys I was going to do a video of Minecraft and rambling. I'm currently sick, so I may sound a little under the weather. There might be a few times where I'm coughing, or I'm going to have to run off the camera to blow my nose. This is Tim the Dragon. He's a new part of the family. He's pretty cool. I bought him for like $20. I walked into the store. I was like, man! To me, it feels like it's worth more than 20, mainly because I love it. So today, we're going to be talking about 4 of the world's most notorious, barbaric, and creepy insane asylums. So the first one on our list is the New Jersey State Lieutenant Asylum, as you can see right here. Don't know if you guys know this, but insane asylums, like back in the day, like nobody really it isn't talked about much in school, like at all. Like they mention it maybe once or twice, and that's mainly due to what the teacher feels like talking about. Yeah, back in the day, insane asylums were crazy, right? It was full of crazy people, but also it was just absolutely horrible. Conditions were terrible, and back in the day, you got thrown in just for talking too much. It was one of those things where it was like, oh, we don't feel like dealing with it, so we're gonna throw it in there. Like, if you do some snooping, more than what I'm gonna tell you, and more than what I've wrote down and have in my is nuts. Like the stuff they did in there was nuts. And I accidentally, I delved into it because I find it very fascinating learning about these things and how much basically we were fucked up back then. Especially back then, we had a lot of weird things like medical procedures, and at the same time, it's also just the reason why we don't talk about it. You'll learn, the Victor. So we basically don't want to make ourselves look worse than what we already are. But it was everywhere. It was, I think London, England, in London had one of the worst ones. They're always like, oh, you stupid Americans, you got your flipping bull crap over there. It's so rubbish. And then it's, in all honesty, all I've heard about you guys is that it's gray. But I can't speak much because most of America is because of smog in New York. I mean, it's kind of gross up there. So I've heard. I've never been there. Don't plan on going there. I live literally in the middle of nowhere, and it's really nice. Yeah, it's also September, so it's basically Halloween. Basically. So I've been into the spook sesh, the little spooky Spooktober type crap, and looking at stuff. And anyway, we're going way off topic. So we're gonna dive into this. So the first asylum that we got, like I said, is New Jersey State Lunatic Asylum, which you'll find out they use a lot of words like lunatic, hooligan, moron, idiot. Those were actual medical terms back in the day, which is, I just use those to talk crap on people. So one of my coworkers decided to do something dumb. You fucking idiot. But anyway, given several titles over the years, this New Jersey facility is noted for carrying out some of the most archaic, is that how you pronounce it? I guess, misinformed medical treatments ever. Founded in 1848, the tenure of Dr. Henry Cotton, who equated mental illnesses with body infections, was behind most of these disturbing procedures. Acting as a director there starting in 1907, his motto reports that the doctor began removing patients' teeth after emerging research found bacteria was linked to syphilis. From there, Dr. Cotton went on to remove the stomachs, testicles, ovaries, colons, and gallbladders of residents, leading to many deaths. Not only was the teeth pulling procedure conducted until the 60s, many of Dr. Cotton's practices were done wide out in the open. That is really nuts. I have more information on this other page that I have to look up because I didn't pull it up in the meantime. Okay, so here we are. So this is it back in the day in 1907. So the New Jersey Lunatic Asylum, later named the Trenton Psychiatric Hospital, which actually has I think it was like a 2.6 star rating, I think I said a few seconds ago, on Google. Weird. Anyway, was founded on May 15, 1848. Its completion marked the opening of the first mental hospital in the entire state. All right. I don't know. And the very first asylum ever constructed around the Kirkbride plan. The hospital was conceived and built with some of the most noble intentions to have ever graced a state-funded establishment. Blah, blah, blah. The having been said, there is a phrase that goes, "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." That's actually a very good quote. I like that. The New Jersey Lunatic Asylum was supposed to usher in a whole new age of psychiatric study. Definitely did, with that little brain, that little lobotomy. Jackson Kennedy. I wouldn't cheat, but I remember that. I remember that meme where it's like, I like eating metal or something like that. That was sadly kind of funny. I don't endorse it, but it was kind of funny. It's kind of sad with the lobotomy crap, which I think this delves into it from the site that I'm reading from. Yeah. It was supposed to be an embodiment of the country's enlightened mentality toward those less fortunate. Let's just say that didn't go any way that they said. Gosh. Just under 60 years after opening, this asylum had become a hellish prison. There we go, I already went into it. For the mentally and physically handicapped patients trapped inside. Today it serves as a setting for one of the darkest tales in the history of psychiatric medicine, and it began when Dr. Henry Cotton became medical director in 1907. So this is towards World War I ending. Or it's a little, I don't remember the exact year. So, somewhere. Cotton was a firm believer that the onset and persistence of mental illness in a person stemmed from infections within one's body. Okay, that doesn't make sense, but alright. In order to preserve and restore the troubled minds of patients under his care, the doctor and his staff took to removing the patient's teeth, which we just slightly went over. It was Cotton's belief that the teeth were the most likely location in the patient's body to house infections. However, if symptoms persisted after the teeth removal, additional body parts were removed. Like tooth extraction, so then they moved to the tonsils and sinus. From there, internal organs, included but not limited to the colon, cervix, ovaries, gallbladder, stomach, spleen, and don't forget this, testicles. Why? Ooh, I think there's a no, this isn't the right one. I remember there's another one that I read about. One on my camera is being weird. Leave me alone. There's a lot of stories that I know, but the lobotomy one is what everyone thinks of. But there's definitely been more lobotomies. The same with electroshock therapy, where they take like 2 electrodes and pop. Oh, you've been a little mouthy today. Like, that stuff's insane. Like, a lot of parents would be like, yeah, my kid talks too much. Let's give him the electrotherapy. Ha! Screw his fucking brain. Like, it's gonna screw your brain. Completely kill it. I know, like, a lot of people were just basically shocked till they were basically vegetables. Which is fucking crazy. Cotton publicly reported a wonderful success rate. For his patients. The study of infections was still a new science at the time, and due to his alleged link between them and mental illness, Cotton garnered much praise in the medical community both in the United States and Europe. It is really insane to think that like now we're looking at this and we're like, this was insane. Like this was stupid. A lot of people also don't understand that like this is what they thought was right. Like I'm not defending them at all, but sadly this is what people thought was right. And you know, you were told like he used to take radium. The one dude like took radium till like his bottom jaw rotted off because it made you feel good. It was a pain reliever, and it's not good for you at all. Felt it coming. Yeah, and then it was praised for it. Like that is insane that he was praised for that crap. More gruesome still, the surgeries Cotton performed were done in an era before the use of antibiotics. I mentioned that, I forgot about that. So a lot of infections probably into that. Resulting in a high mortality rate due to, post-operative infections. So he had success removing crap and then brought a mortality rate. Oh, you know, we just moved his balls and he got gangrene, died. Was that Dr. Cotton? No, nothing. He's all good. Success. Like, the bad thing is like you didn't get tested all the time. You didn't have to go renew your license. You didn't have to do a test. You didn't get like a lot of this didn't get shared publicly, so like nobody really knew. I think this was back in still in the time like where you crossed the county line. Those cops no longer chased you. You had to hope that like the next county was going to get you. But anyway, that has nothing to do with it. Many of the patients at Trenton Psychiatric were mentally handicapped, some quite severely so. Still, the fact that many of the people who went under Cotton's knife ended up dead sometime thereafter was not lost on the patient populace. This resulted in patients who became very fearful of surgery and accounts of patients who were literally dragged into the operating room in a state of panic. I don't know what nurses work in there. You're just like, oh, you need to want to work. There's just another Tuesday. Where do you look at this and be like, we're doing the right thing, you know, Mr. President. We're doing amazing here. We're making such advances. Where in all honesty, like this is fucking nuts. This is nuts. Like I'm already scared of like getting surgery as it is. Like this shit freaks me out. I hate doctors, and this makes me hate them even more. Eventually, Cotton's methods began to draw the attention of other members of the medical field. Members who felt that surgical procedures did little to help with one's mental state. To those ends, Dr. Meyer, head of psychiatric clinic and training institution at Johns Hopkins University. One second, I need a drink. Refreshing. Shoot. Yeah, so other people were drawing attention to the fact, like, that noticed that it doesn't really help, and it's like, oh. Yeah, to those ends, Dr. Meyer, head of the psychiatric clinic and training institution at Johns Hopkins University, was contacted to do an independent overview of the work occurring at Trenton Psych. After Dr. Meyer returned from a visit to the hospital, which left him with concerns. I wonder what concerns were those. About Cotton's methods and the system in which his work was reviewed. Mayer commissioned a member of his staff, Dr. Phyllis Greenacre. What a name. Greenacre. That sounds absolutely cool. To critique Cotton's work at the hospital, Dr. Greenacre began her review in the fall of 1924. So this work is still going on. Let's think about this. 11 years later. No. Wait, when was this built? 1848. So this is going. Wow. 52 plus 20. That's 76 years. It is almost 100 years old. 24 years and it's 30 years old. That is nuts. Wow. Her initial feelings upon entering the hospital were unsettling. Oh shit. She remarked about how disturbing it was that most of the patients at the facility lacked teeth. Imagine just like walking around. Didn't this guy also like remove his kids' teeth? He removed his kids' teeth and his wife's teeth and some of his teeth. So like he literally thought this helped. He seriously thought this helped. That he removed his own kids' teeth and everything. That scared the shit out of me. My roommate shut the door. That was fucking. I heard like my door. Big a noise. My dog even looked up. Anyway, where was I? Anyway, we're unsettling. She remarked lack teeth, making speech and the simple act of eating meals very difficult undertakings for them to perform. Oh, I'd wonder why. They have no teeth. Like, this was before like tube feeding. Wow. Gosh. Let alone for her to watch. Yeah, I would figure you don't want to fucking watch that. When delving into the paperwork regarding Cotton's surgical treatments and results, she found the official records to be impossible to draw results from. Not only were they poorly documented, they also held many contradictions. By 1925, and the hospital reached the hospital, oh my gosh, interest in the hospital reached the NJ, New Jersey State Senate, which launched their own investigation into the hospital and practices of its staff. During turbulent time, Dr. Cotton became quite ill, with rumors surfacing that he suffered from a mental breakdown. Kinda had it coming. I don't mean to be a dick, but I'm not the one to be like, yeah, everyone get karma. But that was definitely karma. That was definitely, he had it coming. Because besides the fact of this, they also, they didn't treat the patients right. He knew that. He ran basically the hospital. I think another issue back then was like, they didn't have like clothes. Like I know a lot of people just decided, hey, fuck it. They're insane, they're nuts. They don't need fucking clothes. Which, I don't even know. Let's continue. Regardless, Cotton diagnosed himself as ailing from several infected teeth. After having them removed, Cotton announced himself as cured. Oh, wow. He returned to work at the hospital. Honey, I'm having a mental breakdown. It's fine. I gotta pull out my teeth. What an idiot. Soon thereafter, he returned to work at the hospital. Soon thereafter, Cotton opened a private practice in Trenton, New Jersey, so he didn't even leave the state, which did very well and made him quite wealthy. That must be nice. During his time, Dr. Meyer, who initiated the critique of Dr. Cotton's methods at Trenton Psychiatric, instructed Dr. Greenacre to cease her work. Despite her protest, so she literally didn't want to see this shit. She was done. Despite her protests and requests to complete a report on Cotton and his treatments, Greenacre was reassigned and a report was left forever unfinished. I wouldn't either. It had to be like horrifying, man. Like seeing like the pictures of like some of the state, like there's feces on the wall, like there's people peeing in corners, people like naked sitting on tables. I'm sure I can find that. Wabang. It literally is like, I don't even know, in all honesty. And like back then they used lead paint too. So it probably helped with nothing. Yeah, I would definitely just be like, yeah, I'm not fucking doing this anymore. I'm done. The lack of third-party critique now meant that Dr. Cotton was free to continue his work, which that sucks. This was reprieve proved short-lived. Pretty sure it's this reprieve. You don't need the was. As Cotton died of a sudden heart attack in 1933. Upon his death, the New York Times, as well as numerous other professional publications in the United States and abroad, heralded his death as the loss of one of society's greatest doctors. Dr. Cotton's celebrated life work left hundreds dead and thousands mutilated. Now, these are pictures of it. This is it, I think now, it's overgrown. These are all pictures now. This is it overgrown. We got another one with like a chair stand. That is kind of creepy, to be honest. This one just looks like a typical rundown building. This picture is creepy. This one, you see the paint peeling. Oh man. That one's creepy. If I see one thing that's going to really creep me out, because it's late. Wow. I think someone probably slept there. Too. There's it back in the day. There's it now again. Like, it looks like a pretty area, like where it was. So at least it was nice outside. I can't, man. It's sad. It really is sad. Anyway, moving on. London's Bethlehem Royal Hospital. When it comes to insane asylums, London Bethlehem Royal Hospital, aka Bedlam, is recognized as one of the worst in the world. I'm pretty sure this is the one, like, was way back, yeah. It was established in 2047. We're going in the future now. 1247. Is Europe's oldest facility dedicated to treating mental illness. However, problems began to rise almost over 4,000 years, like over 400 years later. And they're like, oh yeah, this is odd. It arose in 1675 when it opened in 1247. If I say 2047, I'm gonna shoot. That's gonna be blanked out. So you can't say that here, I forgot. When Bethlehem was overflowing with residents afflicted with everything from basic learning abilities to epilepsy and schizophrenia. Through the early practice of rational therapy, I remember this, rotational therapy, wildly spinning a patient in a chair repeatedly. They also would put them in like a box and would like put them on a chain and spin the living crap out of them. They would also use this was like before they had anesthetic and everything, they'd use that to like pass you out before the surgery. Like you'd be spinning and they'd be like, oh, what if he's good? A few rotations in the box. Just a few more. Like, just imagine going to surgery, you're like, yeah, they're like, we gotta put you under. And you're like, oh, you're gonna do that. We're gonna spin you in the fucking box. Right in. Like, I mean, I guess, like, if that's really all you can do, like, I know the guy that did it, he's also related to Charles Darwin, like, the grandpa of Charles Darwin, the guy that did it. He honestly just did it because, like, there was no anesthetic. There was nothing that could put you down. We didn't know anything about that at that time. He did it it probably would be better for the person to be unconscious, so they have no idea what we're doing. I know some patients got, like, hit in the head, I think, like, back then, they used to, like, hit you in the head, and, you know, you're out, you're done, you ain't gonna feel it. Which, they get it, they get that, or at least they're doing that for that. Was upsetting enough. That was upsetting for them. The site's transition to surgical remedies is what made Bedlam infamous for all the wrong reasons. Well, I wonder why. Doctors facilitated bloodletting by leeches. That was a common practice back then, mainly for infections, which, like, some of it did kind of work, like if you had affection of the blood. I think some it did work for. Cupping glass therapy. I remember that one. It looks like this. Treatments were said to be so agonizing that some patients didn't survive. But questions arose 400 years later. Which explains the mass graves discovered on the property. Yeah, I remember, like, this is what the mass graves look like. Like, most of them don't even have a title. Like, I know, like, a lot of psychiatric hospitals, these loony bins, as they call them, insane asylums, they just have, like, 611, 48, 006. They're just numbers. There's no names, no nothing. It's usually like a plaque that big and just numbers. And I know a lot of them. I think there's one where like it only had like 20 some nameplates, and they weren't even nameplates, they were just ID numbers on a spreadsheet put on there, and the rest none. And like there was hundreds of dead people. So basically, like, if you had a son, a grandparent, a dad, mom, whatever, a friend, you're not finding the grave, which really, really messes with me. So this is number 2. So we're gonna get a little bit of more backstory on this. Asylum. Yippee. Just spilled some on my pants. Nice. Oh, Bedlam, the story of Britain's most infamous asylum. The funny thing is, most asylums like are made like castles. Like that's one of the things I always found weird. I've never heard of the word Bedlam. Apparently, it means chaotic, is what it means, which makes sense. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so it was founded in the mid-13th century. Yes, it's not 1300s, it's 1200s. For some reason, we decided like this century is the 21st century. It's weird. For those who don't understand, whatever. I know some people don't. Sometimes I forget about it. Anyway, blah 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 blah. So, as a religious order dedicated to Saint Mary of Bethlehem, it evolved into a hospital, which in medieval parlance described a refuge for anyone who was unable to care for themselves rather than a medical facility. Inevitably, its intake included plenty of vulnerable people who were considered insane. Once again, back then, insane, just a lot of it was, they'd probably take you off the street if you were poor. Back then. I remember that. I remember being taught about that. The hospital began to specialize in caring for those with mental health conditions, and by the end of the 14th century, its standing as a dedicated mental asylum was established. As the only institution in Britain at the time, Bethlehem would have represented the vanguard of mental health treatment. Sadly, the vanguard of mental health treatment in medieval Britain entailed treating mental health conditions as physical diseases by bleeding, blistering, defecating, and vomiting, which they gag you. Like, I remember watching in a movie, I forget who it was like a writer that went insane or something, shot a guy on the street, and went into a mental asylum, and they were just like gagging the shit out of him to make him puke, because like they thought it'd like reset your brain. I don't ask, I don't know. Anyway. Vomiting out of the patient's body. Needless to say, such treatments, which persisted for centuries, often resulted in death. Which, yes, happened all the fucking time. They did this stuff for regular shit. Like, you think, like, once you kill someone from it, you think, like, oh yeah, let's not do it again. No, we're gonna gag this. Oh, that guy, he's dead. Don't mind him. We just gagged him, too. You'll be fine. Conditions of Bethlehem fell into a steep decline. Good. To the extent... Oh, conditions. I thought, like... That's not good. I thought the conditions of the building. My bad. Yeah. This is the one... I remember now. This is the one where they didn't have anything to wear. Anyway. 6 inspectors reported to be uninhabitable. Let's read this in a very weird British accent. It is not fit for any man to dwell in which was left by the keeper, for that is so loathsomely, filthily kept, not fit for any man to come into the house. So, it was disgusting. It was really, really disgusting. Shit everywhere, piss everywhere, you name it. By the 17th century, Bedlam had already passed into the common lexicon and became a... No idea what that says. Anyway, horrors, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No idea what that word means, so I'm not going to say it. In 1676, was rebuilt. It was rebuilt on a site in Moorfields. The need to upgrade was very real. Bethlehem's Bishop Gate building was a cramped hovel with an open drain running through it. That's fucking disgusting. But the transformation went far beyond mere practically. What time are we at? We're at Yeah, I'm gonna edit this video down anyway, so I don't care. We're making a 40-minute video. It'll be the longest video. Look how fucking crooked that thing is. No, there we go. Perfect. Normally just, I don't know. Sorry for coughing on the mic. And that sounded like shit, probably. It was designed by Christopher Wynn, city surveyor. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? This is what it looked like. So, the bold new incarnation of Beltham as a palace for lunatics. It was a very pretty place. Like, in all seriousness, for back then, that was, sadly, back then that was typical. Now that'd be worth a few $1 million. Quite a few $1 million. Like 100 million. Over 100 million. Symbol of civic pride and charity. Wow. Emblematic of a city that was striving to recreate itself. Yeah, it started to crumble. So everything around it was really heavy that literally the building, like, just cracked. It started to crack and crumble. Wow. It was built on rubble surrounding the London Wall. Lacked proper foundations. Wow, that is insane. So, Bethlehem became the subject of Mormon public fascinations, presenting its governors with a compelling monestation opportunity. Visitors, I remember this. Visitors were invited to attend Bethlehem and gawp at its residents. So, people literally were just like, let's go see the loonies down there, mate. Let's go fucking see the loonies. And I thought, the lady's busy, she's up my ass. I need something to do. Let's go watch the loony bins run into a wall for an hour. Like, that seriously was happening. Like, it wasn't just like now where like you had to be a family member, like not even your girlfriend can go see you. It has to be a family member, or they have to be with a family member. You just be like, yo, I want to see some crazy people. So, I'm going. That, like, where is that, like, man. 96,000 a year. It was a smash hit. Wow. Get paid though. I think the reason why they had to pay is because they stopped giving them funding at this time. If I'm sure. So one commentator denounced it as a crazy carcass with no wall, still vertical. Wow. The cost of maintaining it basically just sucked. Like it just kept on they kept on plummeting. I won't think it would be this way. Plummeting with money because they constantly had to fix the building. So really didn't help. So it's been relocated multiple times. Happily, its current incarnation, a state-of-the-art psychiatric hospital in Beckenham, is an impressive illustration of just how far mental health care has come since the dark days of Bedlam. In all technicality, technically for then, this hospital wasn't as bad as others. A lot of time back then, you were killed just for being the way you were. I don't get it. I don't really get it. So the next one is Topeka. Topeka. I'm pretty sure that's in Kansas. Yeah, it is in Kansas. Topeka State Hospital subjected patients to unthinkable procedures in an attempt to cure them. When Kansas law gave the green light to castrate people, castrate people with mental illnesses, the hospital didn't hesitate to carry out surgery on habitual criminals, idiots, and this is the one where like the idiots thing. Idiots, epileptics, imbeciles, and the same. So, you literally had people that had epilepsy. I have a friend that has epilepsy. He's a great guy. Love the dude. Someone like him that just you like flash some lights, turn on the strobe lights, and you're actually. I'm not gonna do that though. But you turn on the strobe lights, and they're gonna, for him, like if he doesn't sleep right, he doesn't eat right, he doesn't take his medicine, he's gonna have a seizure. So literally, you just had people that just like, I've seen him do it. Like literally, most of them are just like he was like this, but his worst ones are like horrible, and you have to put a tablet underneath his tongue if it gets really, really bad, and pray to God that he's going to be fine by the time the ambulance shows up. So you literally had people that were quote unquote mentally well, technically, besides the fact that their brain does the electric boogaloo sometimes, as my epileptic friend has described it, with people that had actual issues that quite literally were insane, mentally unfit for the world, like literally were murderers. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the same place where they had racist, like a lot of it was race-based in this place. Yeah. I know another thing, like the women were treated really, really bad in these institutions. A lot of them are just like, oh, a guy has a mistress, has a kid, sends her to the mental hospital. So, yeah, the Topeka one, it's not the most, it's insane of stories. Yeah. And for a bonus, I'm adding in the lobotomy story. Okay. The Topeka State Hospital, formerly known as Topeka Insane Asylum, is located in its namesake city, Topeka, Kansas. It was an institution built to house a population of people with mental illnesses and was completed in 1879. See how most of these just like happen in like the 1800s. This ad won't go away. Go away. Please. Thank you. The population of people with mental illnesses and was completed in 1879. Many horror stories exist about the hospital, including that of a journalist who visited the facility and witnessed a patient that had been in restraints for so long, wow, that his skin had begun to grow around the restraints. What does that look like? Around restraints. Is there like a photo of this? Wow. Whoa. Oh. None of these are the photos I'm looking for, and that one is about bondage. So we're never gonna look up something like that again. Didn't think about that. Let's go on. The Topeka State Hospital was in operation from 1872 until 1997. So once again, over 100 years. Located, I don't care whatever. The hospital opened to house patients from that word, State Hospital, after it had become overcrowded. The first buildings of both Topeka and were designed by John G. Haskell, according to the Kirkbride plan. So there's another plan, similar to Danvers State Hospital. Now we're learning about another one. Kirkbride plan was based on the theories of Philadelphia psychiatrist Thomas Story Kirkbride, who suggested natural light and proper air circulation would have a positive impact on the mental ill. Okay, that's actually decent. That isn't horrible. I kind of like what he's saying, not gonna lie. The hospital operated as usual until 1948 came along with countless complaints about the way patients were being treated within the hospital. So it took another like almost 30 years for them to be like, oh yeah, like we had these complaints for like, 40 some years, but I didn't care about them. That's just about 100 years of abuse. Oh, I like how they actually included this in. A panel was put into place to make changes to the facility, and improvements were made after the darkness at the hospital has been brought to the light. By the 1960s, it was one of the top hospitals of its kind in the United States. Wow. So anyway, Topeka State Hospital was meant to provide relief and was built on more than 80 acres of land. As time went on, reports of heinous abuse from both the administration and faculty began to emerge. Torture, starvations, SA, and assault were commonplace. The worst thing about all of this, that no one was able to do anything about the atrocities within the hospital because the workers and doctors were protected by the Kansas state government. Talk about corruption. That was one of the biggest things that happened back then. Like, they would take women in, mainly that, like, as they said, had dirty meow meow. Those, I can't say that either. Corner women. Can I say that one? Is that one allowed? Okay, thank you. And would like usually give them a lobotomy, would give them electroshock therapy, and then was like, yeah, I'm gonna make my way with that woman once she's done. Knock. And then Boom, in there. And also, lobotomy is insane. We'll get into that after this, because I keep on bringing it up. And none of these have brought up the fact of lobotomy. Don't know why. Anyway. During thorough investigation initiated by the former Kansas Governor Frank Carlson, it was discovered that very little records of paperwork existed for a handful amount of them and patients. Wow. And then instead of being treated for their illnesses, they were thrown into the hospital with the others, left to roam around. That was big spelling here. Left to roam around the halls aimlessly. Wow, that'd be creepy. Like, in all honesty, like, I hate being alone in a building, and just like a big building, and you're just walking around halls empty. Like, you go to school, even then, like, that doesn't really scare me because I know there's people there. But like, you're going down a hall, and like, there's little to no light back then. Mainly candlelight, especially at dark. All you have is like the moonlight through the window. I'd be fucking terrified. Hate walking around my own house like that. Anyway, after the report was published, funding for the Topeka State Hospital nearly doubled. Corrupted staff members were let go, and social workers alongside doctors began to actually okay, so they actually tried to help evaluate and treat patients. Some were even released after they had received proper therapy. During its operation, the hospital was infamous for its use of sterilization program. It used hydrotherapy and castration to treat imbeciles. A 1913 sterilization law was introduced and aimed at the habitual criminals, idiots, epileptics, imbeciles, and the insane. As a result, 54 people were sterilized in Topeka State Hospital before 1921, and the years that followed, the number increased dramatically before the practice was stopped in the 1950s. So almost 30 years. In 1951, the hospital faced heat again when it was found that 59-year-old Danish immigrant named John... Oh, this is the one. John Crab. So he got shoved in there. I remember this story. Someone was hitting on. He could barely speak English, and they tried to like say he was insane because he's Danish. He doesn't speak English that well. He is an immigrant, and someone was hitting on his girl. He worked at a restaurant. Someone was hitting on his coworker that happened to be his girlfriend. He got mad, stuff like going, and then he got shoved into hospital. And he literally, I remember them saying that what made them think he was insane was the fact that he kept on trying to prove that he was sane. Like, that's almost like going uphill, a wall like this, going up a hill that's, flat. Like, that sucks. Like, imagine, it's like trying to prove someone they have a PhD, but you literally have no way to prove you have a PhD besides the fact that you know you have a PhD. That, I don't know why I made that reference. But basically he was arguing with them saying, I'm sane, and then they're like, no, you're not. Bye-bye. And he could barely speak English, so it was, broken English saying, oh, I'm sane, I'm not cuckoo. Anyway. Room 18. Newspapers from the late 1800s were filled to the brim with reports of abuse occurring inside the asylum. In one particular case, a witness came forward with some startling information about a patient named Dodd. That's a weird name. The witness told that he was seen an attendant kick Dodd on numerous occasions. Fuck you, Dodd. Boom. Boom. Why? What did Dodd do? Sometimes strangling. Oh, wow. Strangling him and jumping on his chest. Imagine Dodd being like, I want some water. Oh, fuck you. What? What did Dodd do to deserve this? The witness told that he had seen whatever. We're past that part. During his final beating, Dodd was knocked down, and the witness stated that Dodd was dragged into room 18. Door shut behind them, the witness heard a struggle, a groan, and saw Dodd being carried out of the room dead. Wow. That is insane. A county attorney tried to launch a dispute against the tenant, but the governor of Kansas refused to launch an investigation, and a death matter was dropped. In all honesty, the reason being is because government officials were coming in there and be like, yeah, I want some sex. I want some doing of women. There we go. Is that better? In 1896, reports surfaced that elderly soldiers were being taken to Kansas State Asylums to kill. Wow. Talk about disrespect to veterans. You think it's bad now? It still is bad now. Like, it's really bad. But damn! Like, you got what they called shell shock back then, which is now post-traumatic stress disorder, which is viewed as not insane. You just had a traumatic experience in the brain, you know. You can be trained to kill somebody, but you're not trained to watch someone die. That's what I've always been told by my grandpas. The other grandpa I didn't hear from, but, you know, I assume he said that. He died not long after Vietnam because of throat cancer from smoking and drinking. Now, anyway, according to one article, Gus Maurer, an inmate of Topeka State Hospital, was sent home with 2 black eyes and a broken neck and nose. That's horrible. His body was accompanied by a letter from the hospital superintendent stating he had died of apoplexy, yet no effort was made to right the wrong. The superintendent was still in office after the event. That's... wow. And starving for justice. In the spring of 1911, charges were filed against the hospital by former and current employees. A local newspaper shared part of a letter that was included in the charges. I wish to make a statement that John Green, a patient in Ward E2, lay ill in bed for 8 days and died, and during this period he was given no food or medicine. His condition was reported every morning and nothing was done. The body of Green was taken to the dissecting room, his brain taken out and used in a demonstration by Dr. T.C. Biddle. Before a class in the chapel the next day, without the consent of Green's relatives, Biddle wanted the brain to demonstrate the condition of a congested brain. Tenants Roberts and Johnson could not be convinced, as they well knew the patient came to his death by starvation. Wow. Treated like a dog. One witness wrote about a patient who was wearing handcuffs being led around the property with a literally treated like a fucking dog. Being led around the property with a rope tied to his neck. Sometimes the attendant would get drunk and beat the patient. He even tied the patient to a tree, leaving him there for hours. On one occasion, the patient was tied up onto a door while the attendant strangled him as punishment. This sounds like some weird shit. BDSM. On top of all of these specific incidents... Why did I fucking say that? Anyway, the hospital also enforced strict visitation rights. Oh, yeah, this is the same one. They would take, like, kids. Oh, right here, yeah, it says it. Not allowing parents to see their children, and out of the 29 wards and hospitals, visitors were only allowed to visit to 4 of them. So basically, it was like elites. You know, people higher up in the government, and they could only see those that had money, whatever. The poor people, no, fuck you, you're not seeing your kid. Oh, I want to see little Timmy. Fuck you, Dad. You're not seeing little Timmy. Like, yeah, that's nuts. Okay. Tragedies at Topeka. The amount of case abuse and neglect are shocking, truly, but other tragedies occurred at the hospital over the years as well. Murders, assault, learn about... Anyway. In 1992, the hospital broke headlines when music and activity specialist Stephanie Ulrich, I don't know, it's right there, was murdered by a patient named Kenneth D. Waddle, who was classed as violent and high risk. Why the fuck would he be around someone? I'm not saying her last name. Stephanie and other therapists took some of the patients out to watch a movie, and once they arrived back to the hospital, Waddle killed Stephanie. Her body was found in the bathroom. The hospital was cleared of any wrongdoing. So... yeah. That's fucked. That's nuts. There's also... hauntings. We read that. There lies a cemetery on the hospital grounds. Right here's the one. Here's the one about what I was talking about. The final resting place of patients who died in the hospital. Only 16 of the 1,157 graves have headstones. Most of the souls are left nameless. Visitors to the hospital grounds can now witness the nightmarish and foreboding bits of the building that still stand, as well as the patient cemetery. Other reports seeing orbs and hearing strange moans come from the cemetery. This could be the spirits of patients who have passed away attempting to make their names heard. The entire grounds of the former hospital are thought to be haunted, a hallowed ground, perhaps. Have you ever visited Topeka? Fuck no, and I never fucking will. But yeah, that's just what I was saying. We got the Pennhurst Asylum. This is gonna be a long ass video. A 5-part expose. I don't think that's what it's called, or it's just exposed. Called "Suffer the Little Children, Shine a Light on the Atrocities Occurring at Pennhurst Asylum in the 1960s." Through the Pennsylvania Asylum, original opened in 1908, 10 to people with mental and physical disabilities. I think there's a woman. This thing didn't close till really... No, never mind. There's one that didn't really close really, really late, and there was a woman that's still alive today that got an interview about it, and she seemed like the sweetest lady, and we'll go over that some other time. That is... But anyway... Yeah, thank you guys for watching. There's going to be more videos like this. I think I enjoy this more than gaming. I definitely struggle with that a lot. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't know what we're going to do next time. I think we're going to do a bunch of creepy crap. Creepy reacting type crap. Till the end of time. And this was fun, I will not lie. It is 10:46 p.m., which actually is not bad time. It basically... Thank you guys for watching. My name is John, and I'll see you next time.